That's why a lot of these celebrities that start these things, they can't keep up. You know, like the Meghan Markle.
But we don't, you see. I mean, there was nothing there that was really exciting.
What is the #1 question that mystifies scientists?
Is there life on another planet?
Oh no, why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags?
Meghan Markle is not having a great week, you guys. Oh my God. Yeah, apparently after a fiery segment from Bill Maher began circulating again where he bluntly criticized Meghan for what he calls woke hypocrisy and calculated victimhood, the Duchess is absolutely furious, or at least that's what insiders are saying. And while Meghan hasn't issued any public response, reports suggest her team is scrambling behind the scenes. The sources close to her say that the silence is part of a carefully crafted PR strategy to ride out the storm. So what exactly did Mr. Billow say, and why is Meghan reportedly fuming? Let's break it down. Okay, when she's not busy allegedly fuming over comedians who don't worship at the altar of success, Meghan Markle has been really hard at work rebranding herself. Again, because all she do is fail. Because look, if there's one thing that she does better than anything else, it's pivoting, right? First, she was a royal rebel, yeah, rebels, pew 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 pew. Then a podcasting powerhouse, gah. And now, a lifestyle brand guru. Because nothing says relatable Duchess like a line of overpriced jam and oat milk lattes.
But they're ridiculous.
Her brand, as ever, promises to bring us everything we never asked for. I'm talking Jiminy jars, decorative spoons, and the faint scent of desperation. It's the kind of venture that screams, I'm just like you. You know, if you also live in a $14 million mansion and your neighbors are Oprah and, Ellen.
This is raspberry spread. I believe this is like $14 or something. The honey is $28 and the tea is about the same.
And just when you thought the Jiminy Jam Jamboree jars were peak Markle, boom, she drops a podcast. Conversations with the founder, because apparently conversations with my PR team didn't test too well with focus groups. And in this podcast, Meghan dives deep into herself. Wow, phrasing on that one. Giggity. From calling herself an entrepreneur to not giving a damn about her guests, the real entrepreneurs, Meghan basically shows us all of her true narcissistic sides. Plus, we're supposed to just ignore the fact that her entire brand exists because she married a prince and got a Netflix deal. May as well just call her, out the ghetto Barbie.
This whole episode was about her being a victim. You think it's about women and founders? It's not. It's about Meghan is a victim. Always a victim. It's crazy.
Okay, so that was Jen from RHR, and honestly, she nailed it. Meghan's podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, is supposedly about entrepreneurship. But let's be real. It's just another carefully packaged sob story starring Meghan Markle as the misunderstood heroine of her own saga. Let's be honest, Meghan Markle has been telling the same story since 2020.
They didn't like me because I was different seas, because I was strong skis, because I was Americans.
No, Meghan, they didn't like you because you made everything about you and they got tired of the drama.
They're ridiculous after that. They want it both ways.
And there it is. Bill, as usual, cutting through the noise with one line. They want it both ways. And he's absolutely right. It wasn't just a joke. It was dismantling of the core contradiction that defines Meghan and Kermit's entire public image. It was short, it was brutal, and it was true. He didn't have to go on a rant. He just pointed out the one thing Meghan and Kermit have never been able to escape, their double standard. Guys, we just want to be left alone on our terms. I want privacy, but also headlines. Oh, and some sympathy. Can we get some curated sympathy up in here? And when somebody calls them out for what it is, oh my lord, it does not go over well.
And finally, new rule, if Meghan and Harry can quit their family, you can too.
Sources close to the Duchess say that she was blindsided and furious over Maher's comments, calling them unfair and dismissive of her truth. I don't know, I just imagine people in her inner circle are probably like lizard people, right? Because, come on, we gotta remember, in Meghan's world, there's no such thing as criticism, only cruelty. Royal watchers believe this latest moment has hit a nerve, with insiders claiming Meghan is frustrated somebody finally said what like half the world's been thinking for 3 years. Now, this kind of takedown is classic of Bill. The comedian has made a second career out of calling out elite hypocrisy, especially from members on the left.
And finally, new rule, Republicans have to stop excusing all the dictatory stuff that comes out of Trump's mouth by saying, he's just kidding. He says stuff.
Meghan's saga fits right into the storyline that Bill's been telling people about. It's not that she can't have a voice, it's that she uses it only when it benefits her image and shuts it down when the spotlight gets too hot. The royal couple's narrative. We're private citizens now. Please respect our privacy. While we star in a Netflix docuseries, while we drop exclusive podcasts, do press tours, and launch luxury brands, baby. Yeah, that makes total sense. Privacy, it seems, is just another performance, something to be weaponized when convenient and tossed aside when there's a whole brand to promote or a headline to chase. One minute they're begging to be left alone, and the next they're front and center on every platform imaginable, selling the very story they said they didn't want to tell in the first place. This isn't about race or royalty, it's about reality. If you tell the world you're oppressed, but you're also living in Montecito, sipping, green juice on Oprah's lawn, don't expect people to buy the whole underdog narrative. And that, more than anything, is what Meghan is reportedly so livid about, that the illusion is cracking. Can we get a cleanup on aisle 5, please? Shots have been fired.
You know, you can't be, these people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention, and then let me write a book about how much we don't want attention.
I thought South Park did. We want our privacy.
Yeah.
Meghan's Poor Us outline looks pretty hollow when she's hawking it in a best-selling book. In the last 24 hours, this line has exploded across social media, and frankly, it's about time somebody pointed out the big, expensive spotlight that she's been dancing under. After all, how does one complain about a life lived in media limelight and then cash in on those complaints by telling the world how little she wants that limelight? Oh my God, you guys, it's so hard having so many millions of dollars and living in a big fancy house when I didn't want any of this, Oh my God, it's so hard being me.
Still, as I always say, even the best comics can't hold a candle to the woke carryings on and sanctimonious pontifications of the real-life Duchess of Sussex.
I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Let's count the hits in Meghan's own reality show of victimhood. First, the tearful Netflix Oprah tour. Meghan poured her heart out to Oprah about how other people treated her so badly.
The reverse happened. And I don't say that to be disparaging to anyone.
You cut to 2 months later, she's on the red carpet promoting her own Netflix series about it. So private. Next up, her feel-good children's book, fresh off Oprah's couch, about how she hated all the attention, which, you guessed it, features her own craving for attention plastered in ink.
She never stops whining.
Look, just check the pattern. She moans on camera about how badly they treated her, then turns around and sells that very sob story for millions. It's like listening to a crime victim sob, then watch them demand an even bigger mic to talk about how nobody's gonna listen. And guess what? Her handful of fans lap it up every single time. The cooing narrative machine revs up. Poor Meghan, innocent in all of this. Look at what she's endured, you guys. Oh my God. Meanwhile, every high-profile TV sit-down and podcast appearance quietly lands her in everybody's news feeds again. She's been handed global fame, a multi-million-dollar mansion, celebrity friends, and contracts most struggling creators could only dream of. And yet, somehow, she's always the victim. Always the wronged party. Always the misunderstood rebel fighting against invisible forces of cruelty and injustice.
You're complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous. I totally agree.
And look, he didn't just ruffle feathers here, he ripped the bandage off a long festering contradiction that even Meghan's most loyal fans can't ignore forever. Her idea of hardship is being called out in a headline or not being adored unconditionally. Her definition of struggle is being given everything and then being asked to take a little criticism without launching a full-blown media war. According to Bill, the couple took it too far. They kind of went way too hard on we're victims, and they assessed the mood of their generation in America correctly, and that we are lovers of victimhood. And that's the danger right there. They saw a moment in culture where being oppressed is the new currency, and they exploited it. Not by bringing real awareness to injustice, but by inserting themselves as the main characters of a very lucrative sob story. He didn't ruffle feathers, he reignited the conversation about Meghan's obsession with playing the victim. While, living in luxury and monetizing her royal escape story like it's a brand. Meanwhile, social media exploded. People are calling this out as classic Sussex energy. It's mysterious, weeping with not one tear. I believe that dry crying is also called fake AF. Hashtag Meghan Markle couldn't muster up one tear, left I go. Even Ollie London said, is there anyone more cringeworthy than Meghan Markle? Even YouTubers jumped in.
There was nothing there. She actually thinks that most of us are stupid.
She has no clue who she is. She has no clue what her brand is.
I mean, tone deaf could be Meghan Markle's middle name.
One tabloid insider leaked that Meghan is absolutely furious at Bill for spoiling her story arc. But let's not get distracted by the drama behind the scenes. She's probably already lining up the next exclusive interview to get over all of this, PR spin and all. In fact, you can almost picture the scene behind the scenes.
Okay, team, emergency meetings. The nasty Billsies just ruined my redemptions arcs. What's our plan? Yes, plan. Well, if we guest stars on Oprah's again, but this time with a rescue dog? Oh, yummy snacks. Better yet, we release one Gemini jar to a women's shelter, precious. And we films it in blacks and whitesies with violin music, yes.
Dude, it sounds insane, but honestly, at this point, is it really? Every media move Meghan makes feels less like a response to reality and more like an episode of Montecito Housewives. And that's really why nobody is ready to buy it.
And I liked the idea of being able to be so authentically myself with someone who knows me.
And speaking of, let's talk about Spotify. Yeah, that jaw-dropping $20 million podcast deal that ended faster than a royal dietas. Even Spotify executives couldn't keep up the charade. One was quoted saying, Meghan and Harry were grifters. Grifters. Not exactly the endorsement you want from the company paying you millions of dollars. That single word pretty much summed up the vibe of the whole Archetypes project. Lots of fluff, not a lot of follow-through. And the numbers don't lie either. One season, barely a handful of episodes, and a listener drop-off steeper than Meghan's approval ratings in the UK, and that says a lot. For someone supposedly passionate about storytelling, she had surprisingly little to say once the cameras weren't rolling.
She had a $20 million, her and Harry had a $20 million deal with Spotify to put out material, but apparently due to failing to meet the productivity benchmarks, lazy, they have failed to renew it for a second season, and she won't be getting that full payment.
Remember how she claimed she went to Hollywood just to live a normal life, away from the paparazzi? Here's a funny thing. Not many normal people write books, star in Netflix series, sign multi-million-dollar podcast deals, and then turn around on Oprah to protest that same fame. So every time she preaches privacy, 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 watch her hand crawl straight toward the spotlight switch. And everybody knows it. The pattern screams, sell your drama, then cry about the sales. And don't forget the whole Arkwell media flex routine either. She creates a foundation for change, but then media outlets are literally paying her to share the juicy heartaches that drive the narrative.
They're not promoting that charity. They're typically complaining about what's going on in their lives or what happened 4 years ago.
The funny part, this poor me story has become Meghan's brand. Always has been. Some skeptical critics on Twitter called her the queen of sympathetic memoirs overnight. She's so consistent, it's almost choreographed. Somebody throws a pity party, Meghan invites Oprah to cater it, then scripts a tearjerker podcast to announce it to the world. Bill's line hit a nerve because it's exactly the moment we've all been waiting for. Somebody noticing the emperor has no clothes, or in this case, Meghan has no irony. Or real sense of self-respect. Really, the list goes on.
Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, she just flits from one public failure to another. Meghan Markle is launching a new podcast.
And that's what makes the whole act fall apart, because at some point, you can't keep playing the same sad piano song while dining at Michelin star restaurants and complaining about the lighting in your $14 million kitchen. Bill just said it out loud, and now the whole world's listening again. So how exactly is the Dutch ass of hypocrisy handling all of this? According to insiders, she's absolutely livid at being called out. But you know she's just going to turn around and sell that story to the highest bidder.